Welcome back to the Daily Dean. So you're interested in building a computer, which sounds very technical and jargony, and sometimes it does when people are like, oh, did you see the benchmarks for the RTX 3080? I'm thinking of getting 6 gigabytes of VRAM instead of 4, stuff like that. Basically, that stuff is irrelevant to the actual process of constructing a computer. Alliteration. If you are interested in that, which I'm assuming is why you click this, or just are looking for tips or wisdom or advice, I have got a whammy for you. Really, the best analogy I can think of for building a PC is like Legos. It is really not that hard. It is basically looking at construction manuals and tutorial videos, like from Paul's Hardware. That's a cool channel you should check out if you're interested in computer parts or building a computer. In order to expand your knowledge or expand your expertise, cause the actual once again, the process is all you really need is a screwdriver and the screws themselves. Everything else, or maybe zip ties as well, but that's besides the point. You don't need a lot of stuff. You don't need a lot of stuff in order to construct a computer. There's information that you really have to stack up on if you're the one picking out the parts yourself. And splitting it into those two categories is helpful to me personally, okay? You got stage one, which is the actual researching. You want to choose your parts to the best of your budget or whatever, and then the actual putting the parts together. The latter is really easy. There's not a lot to it. Once again, screwdriver, screws, put things into place, boom, bam, you're done. And the first part is the most time consuming. For me, and also probably in between, there's waiting for sales, so you get the best deal on your parts. But some advice. If you are looking to get researching, I would literally just find as much information as you can. Maybe not you don't have to understand oh, well, there's 16 pins in this because the amount of voltage here has to line up with the, whatever, right? You don't have to learn that. But you should look up what are the components of a computer? What are some beginner tips? Those videos, sometimes they're, sometimes it's stuff that I think it was Vice or Vox or something like that. They put out a how to build a PC that was really funny because it was wrong. A lot of the stuff wasn't very helpful. So beware. There's Paul's Hardware. Paul's Hardware is a great YouTube source to find tutorials, and check out his videos down below if you're interested. Because researching, this is 2B, researching is going to be your best asset. You have an unlimited amount of time to spend researching, right? You may not have a lot of free time, but the amount of time that you can spend researching from a couple months, from a couple weeks to a couple months to a couple years, right, or whatever, that stuff is going to be helpful. So I wouldn't rush that process. One other thing, if you're thinking about, oh, what are the best parts? It's all related to your budget. How much are you willing to spend? For $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $10, whatever. As you figure out, okay, I want to I want to play this game. That means I should probably get this if I want these benchmarks. And benchmarks is a way of saying the performance that you have with your current build or rig or parts or whatever. If you want to get 60 frames per second on GTA 5 with ultra graphics, these are the benchmarks that line up with that. And if these builds reach these benchmarks, this performance for this amount of money, then that's probably the goal you want to set. If you realize, hey, I can't afford that much, that's okay too, right? That's a part of the learning process. That's a part of how you grow more in researching, building a computer. And once again, I want to keep emphasizing researching. Because if you go in blind, if you don't really understand all the parts and you just immediately buy them, it's very likely you're not going to have the right clearance. Your fans or cooling system is going to be inefficient. Your clearance also, I'm sorry, I skipped over that. Clearance means that the parts don't actually fit into your computer. That's a little bit of a no-no, because if the parts don't fit into your computer, congratulations, you have an expensive paperweight, right? What are you going to do if you can't fit in your cooling inside of your computer, right? So that's why research is important. Other resources you can find online. PC Part Picker. I know there are certain online forums and websites on social media to help you as well. And what else? Acrylic versus tempered glass. I can see my computer right there, and the case I chose was a acrylic glass type. And there's two types of cases you can have. You can have one whole solid one, or you can have one with a glass panel, right? And then there's two types of panels within the glass types. This is probably one of the most important pieces of advice I can give you. Get tempered glass. Tempered glass. Right now I have an acrylic panel, and anytime the first time you wipe down an acrylic glass panel, scratches everywhere. It looks like a freaking cat walked into my room, basically. 'Cause the acrylic just scratches easily. It's basically like plastic versus actual like hardened glass that tempered glasses, and it's not. I would not recommend it. Just spend the extra $10-$20 on a tempered glass panel if you want a glass panel in your case. But besides that, that's all the wisdom I have to share. So good luck, and I'm happy that you're interested. And don't be discouraged if you find that researching is a little harder than you thought. Just look for the resources that are helpful to a beginner standpoint. And as you accumulate more knowledge, you'll be able to see, oh yeah, that makes sense. And also, partially related, look at the benchmarks for certain computer parts. Once again, that means looking at how they perform in certain games. If you want I'll just shout out random names. If you want the Model 100 and you see that the Model 200 is overdoing it because the Model 100 fits your needs, go for the Model 100. You don't need to dish out hundreds of dollars on, one computer part if you're only going to need the Model 100 to get something, for a certain game. So that's all. Thank you.